Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to share and subscribe the channel. The door slammed shut with a thunderous clang. Jesse's eyes snapped open. He didn't remember falling asleep, he didn't even remember getting here. From the far corner, someone shifted. He wasn't alone. Jesse rose to his feet, and that's when he saw her. She stepped into the light, and Jesse's breath hitched. Her skin was a smooth gradient of violet. The alien woman looked him up and down once, arms crossed over her chest, her jaws tightening. "This is a joke," she scowled. "They put me in here with a human." He took a step forward. "You mind telling me where here is, exactly?" She didn't answer. Instead, she moved toward the door and tapped a panel. It locked. Jesse ran a hand through his short hair and looked around. No windows. One narrow bed bolted into the floor. No food. No bathroom. No escape. "Great," he muttered. "A prison cell designed by minimalists." "I do not share space," she snapped, cutting him a look. "Then take the floor." She barked a humorless laugh. "A warrior does not sleep on the ground like an animal." "So you're a warrior," he said. "I am Axon, third rank of the Chiari Assault Corps, decorated twice." "And you?" She stopped by the bed and tapped it with her boot. "One bed," she said flatly. "Yeah." Jesse nodded. "So let's set some ground rules. We rotate, one on the bed, one on the floor, every 6 hours. Deal?" She stared at him, then laughed again. "You think you're in charge here?" "I think we both want to make it out of this alive," he replied, voice calm but firm. "Fighting each other won't help." Axon stepped closer. "You give orders too easily. You follow orders too rarely," he countered. The air between them was tight with challenge. He clenched his jaw. She was infuriating. Then, with a sudden snort, Axon turned away and dropped onto the bed, claiming it like a throne. "I'm not sleeping on the floor," she said, stretching out as though she'd won something. Jesse looked at the remaining floor space, cold metal, no cushion. He exhaled slowly. "Fine. Have your moment. But we're going to have a problem if this turns into a habit." Axon didn't even open her eyes. "Then you'd better get comfortable being uncomfortable, human." She lay back. Jesse paced, once, twice, then sat against the far wall, arms crossed. He didn't take his eyes off her. He didn't sleep. His back ached from the metal floor, but it wasn't the floor or the light that kept him awake, it was her. Axon lay on the narrow bed like it belonged to her, one leg bent, one arm behind her head, the other resting across her midriff, as if she were posing for a war recruitment poster, perfectly at ease. She hadn't slept the whole time. Whenever he looked at her, she looked away, or smiled. He finally pushed himself up with a groan and paced the edge of the room, though there wasn't much edge to pace. The cell was no more than 3 meters wide and 5 meters long, a shoebox. "Restless already?" Axon asked, not opening her eyes. "Hard to sleep on sheet metal," he muttered. "Humans are soft," she said without inflection. "You're loud when you're uncomfortable. You're breathing. You're fidgeting. You're sighing. You announce your weakness like a distress beacon." He stopped pacing and turned to face her. "I've been shot, tortured, and betrayed by my own allies. I can handle a rough night, thanks for the lecture." That earned him a real look. Axon opened one eye, head turned on the pillow. "Then sit still. You're annoying." "That's funny, I was just thinking the same about you." He smirked. She sat up slightly, elbow propped on the bed, eyebrow arched. "I could kill you in under 6 seconds. "That would be stupid," Jesse replied. "Then you'd have no body heat, no company, and no leverage when someone eventually opens that door." She blinked slowly. "You think they're coming?" Someone locked us in. That means someone's watching. He leaned against the far wall, arms crossed. If this is some kind of experiment, they're testing something more than aggression tolerance. They're seeing how long two dominant personalities can stay in a cage without ripping each other apart. Axon's lips curved slightly. You think you're dominant? I don't follow orders from strangers. I'm not a stranger. I'm a superior. Same thing. She gave a small laugh, soft and low. You want the bed? Come share it. Jesse's eyebrows shot up. I'll take the floor, you stink of control. Suddenly, she raised a brow. Excuse me. You want to lead. You want to talk first. Decide first, plan first. It's in your body language. The way you watch me like you're assessing threat levels. That won't work with me. I don't remember asking your permission to be how I am, she said, voice dipping low. No, he said flatly, but you are still here. She smirked. And you don't play well with others. They've put us together for a reason. Jesse nodded. I figured that out when I realized there was only one bed. Axon's dark eyes didn't blink. There's always a test behind the surface. Someone wants to see who gives in first. You mean who breaks? She tilted her head. No, who bends? A sudden hum filled the air and the lights dimmed further. Jesse looked up. Night mode. Whoever locked us in here didn't want us to know what time it was, but they wanted us to feel it. Axon's voice dropped. It's cold. Yeah, I noticed. She rolled onto her back, staring at the ceiling. I will not sleep on the floor. I already said this. Then quietly, you are warm, Jesse. He looked over sharply. Excuse me. She turned her head, dark hair shifting against the pillow. Your body heat, production faster metabolism, higher surface temperature than Chiari males. Glad I could impress you. And you didn't. It's just practical. He narrowed his eyes. You're not seriously asking me to. I am not asking, she said flatly. I am stating, if the cold worsens and your back continues to crack like dry bark, I will sleep on top of you, not beside you or on you. He stared at her. That is not normal behavior. She smiled faintly. It is for me. Jesse shook his head, biting back a curse. You don't see how that could be a problem. I see no problem unless you're hiding one. Her voice lowered a notch. Are you? He looked away. We're not doing this, we're already doing it. She said, voice now a purr, we are trapped. We are warm-blooded. We are attractive. And we are being watched. Jesse turned back slowly. You think this is entertainment for someone? Her expression was unreadable. I know it is. I'll sleep here. He muttered finally, gesturing to the floor. You take the bed. Just don't crawl on top of me. Axon rolled back over, facing the wall. Now, no promises. The lights dimmed to near black. Jesse closed his eyes. Jesse woke to the pressure of weight settling across his chest. His eyes snapped open, adrenaline spiking. It wasn't a dream. Axon was on top of him, not hovering, not sitting nearby, on him. Her body draped across his limbs, loosely tangled. Good, she murmured. You didn't scream. Jesse's breath came tight through his nose. Get off me. She didn't move, the floor was too cold, and the bed was too small. You said you wouldn't. I said, no promises, she cut in, tone dry. He grabbed her wrist, not hard, just enough to make a point. This isn't how you ask for something. She looked down at him, her black eyes unblinking. I don't ask. I take. Her body was warm, very warm, and she wasn't heavy, like she'd done this before. Jesse's jaw flexed. This is how people die in confined spaces. Then be still, she said calmly. Preserve oxygen. You're insane. Axon didn't seem insulted, if anything, she seemed entertained. You're tense because there's a combat-trained alien on my chest, she smirked, shifting her hips just enough to make a point. Correction, she murmured, there's a very tired combat-trained alien on your chest. He stared up at the ceiling, refusing to react to the curve of her body against his. I thought you were a warrior. This doesn't seem very disciplined. I am conserving energy and increasing comfort. It is logical. He tried again. Look, I get it, space is limited, but this, he trailed off. It's not exactly diplomatic. Axon lowered her head, her lips grazing the edge of his jaw. Then be something other than a diplomat. His breath stalled. What's that supposed to mean? She pulled back slightly to meet his eyes. You talk like a man who wants control, but you don't have it, neither do you. Wrong, he said. She smiled faintly. I have you. I have warmth. And I have no injuries. That's more than you. He couldn't argue that, his back still hurt. You know you're not in charge of me. I know you haven't made me move. That got to me. Jesse exhaled sharply, tilting his head back against the floor. You're enjoying this. I enjoy silence, she replied, and warmth, and not being dead. Same. Then we are aligned. She rested her cheek against his chest. Like that, it was settled. Minutes passed, long, steady minutes. Jessie tried not to think about how soft her lips had felt against his jaw, or the line of her thigh across his, or the slow, steady weight of her on his ribs making every breath feel like a negotiation. Finally, he broke the silence. Axon, this isn't sustainable. Correct? You will tire of fighting it. Then it will become routine. He rolled his eyes. What if I don't tire of fighting? She didn't lift her head. Then I will sleep better than you every night. That was probably true, her breathing changed, her body relaxed slightly, like the tension she carried all day had finally given way. Jessie could feel her heartbeat through her chest. I could handle a rough night, he'd said once. She'd replied, I already said that. He muttered, you never do. Her voice was quieter now. Because you're not weak. You hold the line. You're predictable. I can sleep on that. He blinked. So I'm your mattress of choice because I'm dependable. She nodded once, and warm. Your heartbeat is consistent. I like it. Jesse closed his eyes. Glad I could meet your absurd sleep requirements. It's not absurd, she whispered. It's survival. The lights dimmed further, the system simulating night once more. In the silence that followed, Jesse didn't say another word. Neither did she. And when sleep finally claimed him, his last thought was simple, cold and sharp, they're not going to get the data they expected. Jesse woke slowly. Awareness returned in careful layers. The first thing he noticed was that the pressure on his chest was gone. Axon was no longer there. The second was that his back still hurt like hell. He sat up with a groan and scanned the room. Axon was standing by the wall panel, silent and focused, fingers moving over the embedded console like she knew exactly what she was doing. She hadn't noticed he was awake yet. You pick a lock as well as you pick sleeping positions, he said. She didn't turn around. The bed is inefficient. You snore. It's not loud, just disappointing. He crossed his arms. You were wrapped around me like a space blanket. Axon's mouth twitched with amusement, but she didn't give him a full smile. Instead, she returned her attention to the panel, eyes narrowed. Jesse moved beside her, watching the symbols flash across the display. They were alien, but not entirely unreadable. He'd seen the base structure before in diplomatic briefings. Chiari's script was built in patterns, not words, like a cipher with emotional intent embedded in its syntax. "You're wasting your time," he said. "Am I?" She paused. "They wouldn't lock us in here with an escape button on the wall." Her fingers paused. "That's the difference between your kind and mine. You assume the answer is no. I assume it hasn't been found yet." He leaned in slightly. "That panel's a feedback loop. Anything you input gets mirrored back through a fake security bypass. It's a decoy." Axon narrowed her eyes, then stepped back. "Why didn't you say anything earlier?" "Because you were asleep on me," he said, smirking. "And honestly, I needed the win." She reached past him and pressed a hidden point just beneath the panel's edge. A new set of glyphs lit up. Jessie blinked. "What did you just—" "I opened the actual interface," she said. "You were right about the loop, but wrong about the layer beneath it." He stared at the new symbols. "How did you know it was there?" "I didn't," she said. "I guessed." Jessie watched her scan the interface, lips moving silently as she decoded the logic behind the weight. "You've seen tech like this before." She nodded. "I helped design the original failsafe systems for Chiari containment. They modified it, obviously, but the structure is the same." Jessie exhaled. "So you've been a prisoner before?" "No," she said, voice low. "I built the prisons." That did something strange to his stomach. He watched her hands move again until the panel beeped red. "Access denied." She didn't react, just stared at the flashing glyph. "I was close," she muttered. Jessie stepped in. "Let me try." Axon gave him a sideways glance. "You think you can do better?" "I've negotiated my way through doors more complicated than this," he said. "Besides, I've spent half my career translating Chiari logic, half your career." She echoed, "For years." He ignored the jab and studied the glyphs. Unlike Earth tech, these symbols didn't translate to numbers or commands, they were emotions, a sequence of intent. He tapped two of them. The panel buzzed, the lights flickered once, then the same red denial symbol flashed across the screen. Axon chuckled. "Cute." Jessie sighed. "I said I translated, not cracked code for a living." "You are clever," she said, stepping close again, "but not clever enough." She reached past him again, fingers brushing the back of his hand, this time intentional. "Maybe." Jessie didn't move. Didn't breathe. She keyed in another sequence. The panel flashed green, then buzzed, still locked. Her eyes narrowed, it reset. "No," Jessie said, frowning. "It timed out." "That wasn't a failure. That was a test." She looked at him. "Explain." He pointed to a secondary glyph that had appeared in the corner, one that hadn't been there before. "It's watching for cooperation." She studied him. "So we need to work together." Jessie nodded. "It's measuring synchronization, matching input from two users side by side, same moment." Axon stared at him, then held out her hand. "Do it." He raised a brow. "What, like together?" "Yes." "On 3. Their hands hovered over the panel, fingers poised on separate points. 1, Axon said. 2, Jessie followed. 3. They tapped. Green flash, then a soft click behind the wall. They turned toward the door, nothing moved. That wasn't the door unlocking. "No," she agreed, eyes darkening. "That was whoever's behind this resetting the parameters." "Why?" "Because we passed a stage they weren't expecting us to." She crossed to the bed and sat down, back straight, eyes forward. "What are you doing?" "Recalibrating," he said. "If we are being studied, I want to control the image they're seeing." Jessie leaned back against the opposite wall, arms crossed. "And what image is that?" She looked at him, cool, unreadable. Two people who cannot be broken, no matter how close they're forced to get. They didn't speak for a long time. Jesse sat with his back against the wall, arms crossed, legs stretched out. They were both conserving energy now. The air felt thinner, drier, and the temperature had dropped another few degrees since morning. Whoever was watching wasn't interested in their comfort. "I think they want to see what breaks first," Jesse muttered. "Us," Axon said. He cracked a wry smile. "I thought it would be the room breaking." "It won't be me," she said. He didn't figure it would be. Another hour passed, then another, when they both noticed the shift at the same time. Jesse's stomach clenched, a slow hollow burn curling in from the sides. Axon's breathing changed, not visibly, but her eyes narrowed. "You feel it too?" Jesse said. "Hunger. Been a day, maybe more." Head cocked, she said, "I've done longer. For days without food, ate without water, training." Jesse let out a slow breath. "Yeah. I think I tapped out after 36 hours in the field." "You win." By noon, she stood and rolled her shoulders, her joints cracked audibly and her neck twisted until it popped. Then she walked to the center of the room and turned to face him. "We move." Jesse frowned. "Move where?" "Anywhere. Movement, circulation, blood flow." "You want to work out?" "No," she said. "I want to survive." "You can sit and suffer or stand and suffer productively." He pushed to his feet. "What did you have in mind?" Axon gave him a look, then launched into a slow, fluid movement, a combat warm-up adapted to conserve energy. He mirrored her, because some small part of him wanted to match her, to prove he could. He didn't realize how close she'd gotten until they brushed hip to hip, nothing more, but enough to make him aware of every inch of her again. Her voice came out low. "You humans burn fast, meaning high output, high crash, fragile fuel. I'm still here, aren't I?" She turned sharply, sweeping a leg under his, forcing him off balance. He stumbled back and caught himself on the wall, glaring. "Don't provoke me," she said. "I'm starving, not dead. You picked this. Don't turn it into a fight just because you're dizzy." "I'm not dizzy," she replied, then paused. "I'm agitated." Jesse blinked. "That's the Kyari word for hangry." "No," she corrected quickly. "That is the Kyari word for not wanting to be here." He straightened. "You mean, with me, with anyone?" She shook her head. "A cage, a camera, a calculated trap. I don't want my choices removed." He met her eyes, then stopped, letting there be silence between them. Then, without warning, Axon crossed the room fast and fluid and grabbed him by the collar. "You keep trying to lead," she said, "even now." Jesse didn't pull away. "I'm trying to keep my head." "You should lose it." Axon's hand didn't move. She leaned in. "You are warm." He murmured, "I noticed." "I'm cold. I'm starving. My instincts are louder than yours, doesn't mean I'm yours to use." Her mouth barely curled. "Then say no." She leaned into him fully now, chest against his hips, brushing her arms around his waist, palms flat on his back. Jesse stood frozen, caught in the impossible closeness. Then, slowly, cautiously, he let his hands rest on her waist, just rest. Her forehead settled against his. "You smell like adrenaline," she whispered, "and defiance." "You smell like trouble," he muttered back. "Good." They stayed like that for a long time, no kissing. Finally, Axon stepped back, her breath shaky but her spine straight. She turned and walked to the bed, sitting with her back to the wall, knees drawn up slightly. For the first time she looked small. "You're not going to lie on top of me again?" Jesse asked, keeping his tone light. "I'll warn you next time," she replied, eyes closed. "Thanks for the upgrade," he said. Then she looked at him again. You smell like heat and iron. He shifted slightly. Is that how you read people? Scent and posture, part of it. She opened her eyes and looked at him. I read the silence too. And what's yours saying? He asked. That you want to ask me something. He did. Why didn't you kiss me? Her eyes didn't waver. Because you weren't ready. And now. She didn't finish. She just turned her head and closed her eyes. The message was clear, not yet. Jessie sighed, stood, and then, without speaking, crossed to the bed. She cracked one eye open. You volunteering this time? I'm tired, he said, and cold. And I'm not going to sleep curled up like a forgotten suitcase on a metal slab. She made room without comment. They lay side by side for several long seconds, not touching. Then slowly, Axon moved, she curled against him, head resting on his shoulder, hand on his chest. Jessie didn't move, he didn't stiffen. This time, his arm slid around her without thinking. Better? He asked. She didn't reply, he was almost asleep when she spoke again. I used to think humans were too soft to be useful. Jessie cracked one eye open. And now? I still think that, she said, but you're difficult. Thanks, he whispered. I mean it. She traced soft precise lines with her fingers on his chest. You don't collapse when you should. Neither do you. Axon didn't respond. Eventually, Jessie drifted off, and for the first time since waking in that room, he slept. Jessie woke to the sensation of fingers on his collarbone, not aggressive, tracing soft, precise lines as if memorizing him. He opened his eyes. Axon was watching him, close, head resting on the same pillow, her dark eyes steady and unreadable in the dim light. You know, Jessie said, voice rough with sleep, if you're trying to steal my shirt, there are less dramatic ways. Her fingers stilled but didn't pull back. I was trying to remember this. Remember what? This shape. What shape? The way your body fits against mine. The way you breathe when you sleep. How your scent changes when your pulse slows. Jessie blinked. You catalog everything. I'm trained to, she said. But this, I don't want to forget this. He sat up slightly, resting on one elbow. Okay. What's going on? Axon didn't flinch. She sat up too, folding her legs beneath her, eyes never leaving his. I've decided something. That's rarely a good opening. She ignored the sarcasm, tone low but calm. If we escape this place, you come with me. Jessie froze. That's not a request. We will, she said simply. We're being monitored, studied. They won't keep us here forever. It's a simulation, a stress test. Eventually, the test ends, and then what? He swallowed. Then. I take you. Jessie laughed, short and sharp. Take me. You're not serious. Axon's gaze sharpened. Completely serious. You want to drag me back to Curie space, parade me like a trophy, keep me around for, what? Sleep experiments? No, she said, rising fluidly to her feet. I want you near me on purpose, not as a subject, not as a prisoner, as mine. Jessie stared at her. You don't get to say that like it's casual. It's not casual. It is, she replied. That's the point. It was the closest thing to vulnerable I've heard from you. You're serious. She nodded once. You've proven yourself, not just with words, not just with defiance. You matched me. You didn't break. You adapted. That's rare. He shook his head. You're still talking like this is a war, like we sparred in some honor ring. We did, she said. Every night we shared space. Every word we exchanged. Every time you resisted the instinct to yield. And now. What, you want me to just follow you? She shook her head. No. I expect you to argue. But I still want you to come. Jessie stared at her. You don't even know what I want. I know what you don't want, she said. You don't want to go back to your old orders. You don't want more sterile missions. More rooms like this. You're tired of being disposable in a chain of command that uses you as leverage. He turned back to her, eyes narrowing. And you think I'd be better off belonging to you? Her jaw tensed. Not belonging, aligned. He studied her, really studied her. What she wanted was him. He stepped forward slowly. I don't follow orders. I wouldn't respect you if you did, she said quietly. I don't do chains. No cuffs. Not rules. Not leashes. I wouldn't ask you to, she said. I want you beside me, not beneath me. His hand brushed her arm, lightly enough to say he was listening. I don't say yes easily. I don't want easy, she said. I want real. And for the first time, neither of them reached for dominance. Somewhere far above, behind walls they still couldn't see, the test continued, they were no longer adversaries. But Jessie knew that if the door opened right now and he had a choice, he wouldn't walk away from her. The wall panel, dead for hours, lit up. Choice, it said, just a single symbol. Axon moved first, fast and controlled, crossing to the wall and hovering her hand above the glyph, but not pressing it. They're watching, she said. They always are. Jessie stood beside her. Axon looked at him. This could be a door, or it could be another layer of the cage. We press it together, he said, like before. She nodded. Their hands lifted at the same time, fingers aligned over the glowing symbol. On 3, they pressed. The glyph flared, then clicked. A hiss of releasing pressure. The seal broke and the door cracked open. For the first time in what felt like weeks, real air poured in. Beyond it, a corridor stretched away in both directions. Too easy, Jessie said, pulse kicking. Axon's jaw tightened. It's not easy. It's the next phase. The hallway's design was identical both ways, blank walls, low light, sterile and angular. But Jessie noticed something she hadn't, along the left-hand wall, a slight flicker at the edge, ventilation sensors active. They want to see where we go, he said. She crossed her arms. So we stop playing. How do we break the path? He pointed to a wall panel 2 meters back. They doubled back, found it, and Jessie pulled it off with effort. Axon crouched beside him and cut a wire precisely. The lights overhead blinked, the panel across the corridor died. Now we move, she said. 2 left turns, 1 right, then another sealed door, it opened automatically when it detected them inside. The room beyond was filled with equipment, a single blinking console in the center. They froze. Axon stepped forward and studied it. Her voice dropped. This is a checkpoint, for what? Release, Jessie guessed, scanning the walls. Or for containment, she added. No cameras. They don't need them anymore, he said. They've seen enough, she said. Can you hack it? No, he replied, but I can lie to it. She raised a brow. Go on. He tapped into the interface, fingers flying. It's asking for classification. You're not in their system. Exactly, but I'm human. We're not supposed to be in the system. That means I'm a variable. A glitch. And you're going to pretend to be a crash, worse, she said. He grinned. I'm going to fake a recall. He rerouted the access string, spoofed a shutdown notice, and injected a redirect loop. The console blinked once, then again, then flashed green. Behind them, the outer door opened. Real light poured in, this time sunlight. Jessie and Axon both blinked against it. He turned to her. Ready? Her voice was low and steady. When we walk through this door, there will be no undoing. I know. They stepped into the light together. The outside was shockingly familiar, not an alien landscape, but cameras swiveling and tracking. Jessie scanned the perimeter. It's abandoned. No, Axon said. They got what they wanted, data proof. They crossed the yard. At the edge of the compound, a shuttle rested on a pad, small, fast, long range. Yours? Jessie asked. She nodded. I left it hidden before they took me. That's convenient. No, she said, that's strategy. The ramp lowered with a hiss. The inside gleamed, tight quarters but real controls, a working NAV system, no AI, fully manual. Jessie climbed aboard and sealed the hatch. So what now? He asked. Axon didn't look at him. Now we disappear. The shuttle tore through the upper atmosphere like a blade. Jessie leaned against the bulkhead, watching her pilot. She hadn't said a word since launch, not about the facility, not about what came next. She moved like a machine, focused, efficient. The NAV readout pinged softly. They'd passed into neutral territory, no Chiari beacons, no Earth recon zones, a dead patch in space, a perfect place to vanish. So where are we going? Jessie asked. Safe house, Axon answered. It'll buy us time to decide what we are. The words landed heavier than he expected. He nodded slowly. And what are we now? Not prisoners, she said. He agreed. But not free, either. She didn't argue as the shuttle angled down toward wide, unmarked terrain, dense vegetation that looked more Earth than alien. Axon set them down hard, but clean. The ramp dropped. Jessie followed her into crisp air smelling of moss and lightning. The horizon stretched forever, no cities, no lights, just sky, dirt, and cold wind. The silence here was real, not manufactured, and that was almost stranger than the cage. The safe house itself was small, single-level, reinforced, minimal. Inside, it had the bones of comfort, a table, a working unit, a ration stock, a bed big enough for 1.5 people if neither moved much. Axon dropped her pack on the table and started removing layers, jacket first, boots next. Jessie didn't move, he was watching her too closely now. Now what happens if they come looking? He asked. They won't, she said. You sound sure. I am. They got what they wanted, data proof of what, that Chiari can bond with humans. That it's not weakness. He stepped closer. Then why run? Because I didn't let them choose who I bonded with. The heat in her words caught him off guard. You think they'll punish me for it? No, she said softly. They'll try to claim it, turn it into some banner of progress. Use me as a symbol. Use you as a pet. Jessie's mouth went dry. You don't think they'd go that far? Axon met his gaze, hard and quiet. They already have. You kept control in that place, he said. You held the line even when I couldn't read you. But now we're out, and I need to know something. Her voice was barely audible. What was any of it real? She didn't blink. All of it. He stepped closer. Even the part where you said I was yours. Her hand came up, slow, fingers sliding across his jaw, her thumb brushing his cheek like she was trying to memorize the answer to that question with touch alone. I didn't say you belonged to me, she said. I said I'd taken a liking to you. Jessie's lips twitched. That's not an answer. She stepped closer still. There is no answer, she whispered. Just this. And then she kissed him, a kiss thrown into a fire because the flames were coming either way. He responded like it had been waiting inside him all this time. They didn't stumble to the bed, they crashed into it, still dressed, still tense. We don't have to make sense yet, she said. He nodded. Because I'm not sure I can. They lay like that for hours, not sleeping, not talking, just existing in the aftermath of survival. When morning came, Jesse didn't ask what came next. Then the safe house burned. He and Axon locked eyes, she said. They found us. Jesse was already moving. How? Axon ripped open the armory panel beneath the floor. Someone watched the recall override. The shuttle was tagged and delayed. Then we didn't escape, she said. No, Jesse said. They let us run. Not a recovery team, Axon snapped. An elimination party. The first blast hit before she could finish her sentence, a gunship. Jesse grabbed her wrist. We have to move, now. The second blast caved in the opposite wall. They dove for the side exit, boots hitting soil as the roof came down behind them. This isn't a recovery team, Jesse said, breath ragged. They want to erase us. Axon growled. Erase us? They can't, he said. We're evidence. Jesse grinned through the pain. Then let's give them a show. Down the ridge they ran. A gunship hovered tracking them, a drone passed overhead. Axon yanked him behind a fallen tree just in time. We can't outrun it. Then we don't. Jesse pulled out the portable signal scrambler he'd salvaged from the shuttle. Axon's eyes narrowed. It won't last. It'll give us a chance. He activated the pulse, a burst of static exploded in the trees, momentarily blanking the drone feed. They ran again, toward the ridge at the top, an old comm tower half buried and rusted inactive for years. Will it work? Axon asked. Jesse yanked open the access panel, exposed the relay system, and hardwired the control port to his portable pad. Who are you calling? She asked. Everyone who doesn't want to see Chiari Command rewriting history. The signal jumped. This is Echo Base. Identify. Jesse keyed in the override phrase, iron burns clean. The voice hesitated, then said, we're listening. He uploaded the entire data packet, surveillance logs, biometric records, everything they never wanted exposed. If we go dark, Jesse said, you bury this in every corner of the net. Axon turned toward the clearing. The gunship was coming back, slower now, more deliberate. It had stopped chasing, it was preparing to strike, to finish. They're stalling, she said. Trying to figure out what we just did. They're not going to like the answer, Jesse said. Axon drew her weapon. Good. The gunship hovered into view, casting a long shadow over the ridge. Its side bay opened, 6 armored Kerr commandos descended on drop cables. 6 on 2, better than 8, Axon said. Stay behind me. Not a chance, she replied. They dropped low and moved like one. She rolled left, he flanked right. They opened fire in perfect sync, one Karian dropped, then another. Axon moved like a weapon, Jesse didn't watch, he followed, covered her. They won't stop, she said. They can't, we're evidence. Jesse grinned through the pain. Then let's give them a show. The final 3 soldiers advanced in tight formation. Jesse looked at the explosive charge on his belt. Axon saw it too. No, she said instantly. It'll take out the bridge. Knock out the ship, the tower, everything. He gripped the timer. It'll take out you. Not if you get to the trees. Her jaw clenched. He pulled her in. I'm not leaving you. You left a facility for me, that was different. No, Jesse said. It wasn't. He placed the charge and set the timer. Axon. She grabbed his face and kissed him. When she pulled back, her voice cracked, you don't get to end the story like this. I'm not ending it, Jesse said, and launched up from cover, yelling to draw fire. The commandos opened up, but Jesse rolled, fired, and drew them toward the charge. Axon screamed his name. Then the ridge exploded. The shock wave through her back, winded and bruised but alive. Smoke curled from the ridge, the gunship stuttered, lost altitude, then veered off, sparking, smoking, dying. No! Axon yelped. She bolted to the crater's edge. There, she found the scorched edge of Jessie's gear, but no body. Something thumped above her. She spun, blaster raised, and there he was, soot-covered, bloody, half-conscious, clinging to the ledge above the blast zone, pulled up by sheer spite. Axon dropped her weapon and bolted to him, half yelling, half laughing. "You absolute idiot!" Jessie groaned. "Told you I wasn't ending it." She grabbed his face again and pressed her forehead to his. Much later, the net lit up with data drops, the footage leaked, the facility exposed. The Chiari denied everything, but the truth had legs. Now, as the accent disappeared, Jessie went with her. The room was gone, the cage shattered, but she still slept on him most nights. He didn't complain. And sometimes, just before sleep, when the world was quiet and the shadows were long, she would whisper, "This room is still too small." He'd smirk, even with her whole body draped over him, and say, "Then don't move. I'll adjust." And she never did.